Breaking news. I repeat, breaking news. The Golden State Warriors are desperately looking for another star to pair next to Stephen Curry. And the reports are that they're going to do it no matter what. Either it's going to be externally or internally. And we'll get around to that, what that may look like, and what options that they have in terms of getting another star, because they have multiple different routes that they can take to make this happen. But this is all stemming on the fact that the Warriors are dead set on getting another championship with the pairing of Steph Curry and Draymond Green. So the first question I got for you guys is, can the Warriors get Steph Curry another championship? Can Steph Curry and Draymond Green manage to win a fifth ring? But here's what this whole thing stems on. And I'm kind of confused about why the Warriors are looking to add another star. Now, granted, I know a lot of people think that the roster is flawed. I'm one of the people that aren't necessarily under the assumption that the Warriors just need a major upgrade. I mean, they're currently the fifth seed in the Western Conference, and they were flirting with the number one seed, and they've been good throughout this whole year. Their record is 13-8. They have the fourth best defense in the whole NBA, the 12th rated offense. They've been playing well. They've proven that they're a legit contender this year, which strikes me as it just strikes me as weird why they're so eager to make a move. I mean, it doesn't necessarily matter how I feel though. Clearly, they aren't confident in this roster despite the early success. And this dates back to last year in the summer where they were trying to acquire other stars too, which we'll get to that in a second. But I mean, so far this year, they went on a 9-1 run over a 10-game stretch, followed by a not so good stretch where they went 2-6. Now, last night they were able to bounce back due to a large game, a very good game from Jonathan Kuminga, probably the best game that he's played in his young pro career. But they have opportunities right now, internally and externally. So let's kind of get into that and break down what may just be the best move for them. But once again, you guys let me know, do the Warriors in fact need to make a move? So let's look at some options that they can look elsewhere, which superstars that they can bring in. Now, remember this offseason, they tried to acquire Paul George from the Los Angeles Clippers. Remember, Paul George was basically on the way out the door. They tried to put together a sign and trade, and the Clippers just didn't want to deal with the Warriors. And that would make sense. They play the Warriors a lot. They're two West Coast teams. They're in the same conference, same division. They didn't want to make the Warriors contenders overnight, which that actually might have been a blessing in disguise because Paul George hasn't had the best year in Philadelphia. So the Warriors may have dodged a bullet. But also remember there were a lot of rumors and speculation that the Warriors heavily pursued Lauri Markkanen, and that fell apart and ended up in Lauri Markkanen signing a long-term extension with the Utah Jazz. But remember too, in the midst of this whole thing, there were rumors saying that the reason why this deal wasn't pulled off was because the Warriors were unwilling to give up Brandon Pajinski, which also struck a lot of people as very weird, me included. But we'll get to Brandon Pajinski here in a second. A couple different stars that I think that the Warriors should be pursuing and that are actually available, some disgruntled stars. Let's start with Jimmy Butler. We've heard his name circulating in a whole lot of trade rumors and, potentially a guy that can go to a contender and potentially a guy that, well, the Heat are done with. So Jimmy Butler is one option for the Warriors. Another guy in Chicago, Zach LaVine. We've definitely heard his name linked to a lot of rumors, and it's also been said that the Chicago Bulls will be sellers come the trade deadline time. So Zach LaVine is definitely a name to watch and a name that could end up in Golden State as well. Another name that I got for you guys is Brandon Ingram down there in New Orleans. Obviously, the Pelicans are off to a horrific start, especially due to their expectations this year. Zion's been injured. DeJounte Murray's been injured. Herb Jones has been in and out of the lineup, and so has Brandon Ingram. And so they've had a terrible start to the season. But I'm told that Brandon Ingram is either going to sign a contract extension or he's out the door. There's no in between and no gray area, and it's going to happen ASAP, basically. So the what Brandon Ingram has said is that he wants to be a part of a winning and competitive environment, which obviously that's not happening in New Orleans. Now they can get healthy and things can pick up, and who knows? The sky could be the limit for the Pelicans. But as of right now, they're down in the dirt, and Brandon Ingram wants to be a part of winning culture. So he may be a target for the Warriors as well. Continuing to talk about other stars as well, I mentioned them earlier, and it still might be an option to go get Lauri Markkanen later on in the year or maybe in the summer. He still, I think, is a potential option for the Warriors, seeing that the Jazz just aren't in a position to compete, and they may want to double down on their tank and acquire some younger assets and draft stock and whatnot. Also, one more person to keep your eye on, similar to the Brandon Ingram situation, a team that's underachieving like crazy, and they may just want to blow things up and and restart the process. Joel Embiid. Joel Embiid may be a sneaky contender to watch out for because things just aren't on the up and up with Philadelphia, and he hasn't been able to get on the court. And it's just been so much drama throughout the years with Joel Embiid and the Philadelphia 76ers. They may be willing to move on from him. Those are some external options that I can potentially see the Warriors going out and potentially pursuing or trying to make that happen. But you guys let me know if there's any other stars that you guys may think can help the Warriors. Talk to me. You guys let me know. But in terms of internal stars, I I think that the Warriors have two guys that they could potentially turn to be that second star that they're looking to have next to Steph Curry. Now the big thing is they want to have another star next to Steph Curry. That's the big thing. That's the whole point of this. Uh don't tell me Santa Cruz said you he said you think MPJ on the or you think MPJ on the Warriors? I would like that. I just don't. First off, it's two teams that want to compete in the Western Conference. So I think that will make both teams a little reluctant to do business with each other. Also, too, what do the Warriors give up for MPJ that the Nuggets want? Is it Kaminga? Is it B Pods? Is it Andrew Wiggins? So I don't know. It's kind of funky when I see those two teams trying to trade with each other. So I don't know about Michael Porter Jr. I did think about him, but those are the reasons why I didn't add him to the list of people that I think the Warriors will want to get. But let's go back to these internal options because the Warriors do have young pieces, but it's two guys in specific that I think internally, if they want to add a second star or raise one of these guys' levels, one of them is obvious. You drafted him high in the draft. He went what? Jonathan Kaminga was in the first round. He was a seventh pick in the 2021 draft. 2 years ago, he had a pretty good year. He averaged 16 points, 5 rebounds, a couple assists. He showed some promise. This year, however, his production has went down, but that's in large part because his minutes have went down. Now, I know a lot of you guys are going to say, "Oh, well, Brandon Jonathan Kaminga, he comes off the bench. He hasn't really shown much, this, that, and the third." Well, keep in mind, I do, first off, just watching him, I've seen the progression in his game, and he looks a whole lot better. But also remember, the Warriors Steve Kerr's going deep into the bench this year. They're playing like 12 deep. So everybody's minutes has went down, including Steph and Draymond, along with Jonathan Kaminga's. So his production might not necessarily match his level of play this year. But in case you were weary or anything like that of Jonathan Kaminga, last night is the night that you want to point to. And not just last night, but his last three starts. So in a loss to OKC, he had 19 points and a few rebounds. 28 minutes, that was an all right game. Okay. The next game, and a loss to the Nuggets, he started as well. 19 points, 5 rebounds, a couple steals. He played much better in that game. And then last night, without Stephen Curry and without Draymond, Jonathan Kaminga put this team on his back and led the Golden State Warriors to a win against the second-seeded Houston Rockets. He came through with a career high 33 points, 7 rebounds, a couple assists, and if you watch this game, you seen that Kuminga, he showed he got a little bit of a little go as a number one option. Now, obviously, with Steph there, he's never going to have to be the number one option, but he could be a guy that they could turn to when Steph's not on the floor to go ahead and lead the offense. But he also can turn into a competent second option if given the opportunity. He shot 3 for 6 last night, which was very impressive. That's one of the question marks with this game is how's the 3-point shot going to look? But I was heavily impressed by Jonathan Kuminga and what he was able to do tonight. In fact, I'm impressed by Jonathan Kuminga so much, I don't think they need to make a trade. I think Steve Kerr needs to stop bullshitting and give that boy some more minutes. Keep him in the starting lineup, build his confidence, and I believe Kuminga will be a better option than Jimmy Butler, Zach LaVine, Brandon Ingram, and all these other guys. And the reason being is I'm not necessarily saying he's a better player than these guys today, but he's a better investment than these guys in the long term. Jonathan Kuminga is only 22 years old. And yes, Tank, you're right. Moses Moody as well. And I don't know if Moses Moody can become a competent second option, but that is a nice young talent that they have over there. Another guy too is B Pods. Now, hear me out. I'm not saying B Pods can become a competent second option. No, I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is that if B Pods is the reason why you guys couldn't get Lauri Markkanen, if he's the guy you were unwilling to give up to get Lauri Markkanen, then what you need to do, Steve Kerr, is get that man some minutes and give him a bigger role. Because clearly, you guys thought the world of him, and you weren't able to let him go to bring in a star that you needed to pair next to Steph Curry that you're desperately trying to do right now. So if that was going to be B Pods, if you were reluctant to give him up, then give him the role that he needs to have. Otherwise, you blew it, and you should have got Lauri Markkanen when you could have got him. So I'm saying that to say promote B Pods as well. But I think they should do it internally. I think B Pods needs a bigger role. I believe Jonathan Kuminga needs a bigger role. And on top of that, you guys still have a lot of different pieces that were on that championship team just a couple years ago. And I haven't mentioned Andrew Wiggins yet. Keep in mind, he was already the second option for you during you guys' championship run a couple years ago. And as of right now, he's second in the team in scoring, just under 18. Last night, he had 24 points. I believe that the Warriors are okay, but it doesn't matter what I believe because they want to add a second star next to Steph Curry, and they want to go get that fifth ring. So the question is, who are the Warriors going to go out and get to pair next to Steph Curry to go and win a championship, to come out of the West, to take down the mighty Oklahoma City Thunder, to fend off the Rockets, to silence Nikola Jokic, and ultimately go to the championship and beat who many people believe are going to go back-to-back, the Boston Celtics. So we'll just have to see. I got a super chat from SMN R&DM. He said, if you go to the gym and have tendonitis, you know it can't be cured. It's sad, but looks like Steph Curry will have to go pain manage for the rest of his career. Damn, Steph. Well, y'all, I'm about to get up out of here, but before I do, I just want to let you guys know I will be back to break some more news before you can blink your eyes. Like this video, subscribe to Player's Choice, and I'll see you next Monday on the panel or tomorrow on Breaking News. You never know which.